Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. You know, the left, and especially the mainstream media left, are always going on about diversity and inclusion, and of course tolerance, but what they really mean is inclusion and tolerance of everybody except for Trump supporters. They constantly use the word, but they don't seem to know what the definition of the word bigot really means. The word bigot is described as being intolerant to different people with different cultures and different viewpoints, and that word right there is the perfect definition of the modern elitist left. And the most insulting part is their bipartisan scam that we're always seeing. You know, very similar to Nancy's bipartisan scam from the January 6th Commission. There's two, quote, Republicans on the panel, therefore, and of course those two Republicans happen to be never Trumper rhinos. In other words, everybody gets a view as long as they're anti-Trump. These days, at least culturally, the most discriminated against individual or group of people is anybody even remotely associated with the America First new conservative age. It's of course something that we've been talking about with all the Republican primary elections over the last couple of months, and especially with the Kari Lake primary election just this week. But that's the concept that I want to focus on for this video, the discrimination that patriotic America First conservatives are constantly facing, especially in the cultural world. And I want to use The View as the prime example. Of course, ABC's The View with Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, and Sunny Hostin, who continue to run the same scam, pretending that they're fair and unbiased and giving Republicans a voice by bringing on total fake hack Republicans that don't represent the conservative base whatsoever. The only person in American culture who faces discrimination who doesn't have a voice is you. And that's the topic that I want to cover in this video. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so the scam at The View continues. Whoopi Goldberg made the announcement just the other day.
We always want to honor Barbara Walters' original version and vision, that different views are represented at this table.
You serious? And then of course The View announces two brand new co-hosts, people who are being brought on full time, and guess who it is? Ana Navarro and Alyssa Farah Griffin. Well, there it is folks. The View is officially bipartisan and Republicans have their voice in the mainstream media. No more complaining about conservative bias. Just like with the January 6th trial, quit complaining, bigot. Trump has his defense. The other side is represented fully. This is totally bipartisan, with Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney representing you. I mean, what a complete joke. What a scam. What a racket. But this is what we see across the board, and you see the same thing at Fox News. And especially these days, I mean, Donald Trump hasn't even been on the network for God knows how long. It seems as though they even refuse to mention his name. The mainstream media across the board, whatever network it is, to maintain the status quo, and clearly when we're talking about the status quo, Donald Trump and the America First agenda, this new conservative movement, is just not invited to the party. The idea that Ana Navarro is a Republican, first of all, is a complete joke. I mean, an insult to my intelligence. She is a straight up liberal, a straight up Democrat, and she does not even in the slightest represent the conservative base. Neither does she even really challenge any of the narratives or any of the bogus claims or bogus stories that The View is constantly pushing on suburban moms every single week. And of course, the second conservative or Republican host who's officially joining The View on a full-time basis is Alyssa Farah Griffin, who happens to be a CNN political commentator. You see a trend here, of course. Only a certain type of conservative or Republican is allowed within these spaces, and Alyssa Farah Griffin also happens to be a devout anti-Trumper, somebody who at one point did actually work in the Trump administration, but she recently came out publicly asking for forgiveness to atone for her sins for the terrible crime of working in the Trump administration. Alyssa Farah Griffin defends Trump White House past after getting grilled by Sunny Hostin on The View. Quote, "We all make mistakes."
There are people who think that people like me, people like Stephanie Grisham, people like Olivia Troy don't deserve to have a voice because we work for Donald Trump. I reject that. We are telling the truth now. We are telling it authentically. We are acknowledging what we did wrong. And I am grateful to those women, and I stand with them. I stand with Cassidy Hutchinson. You know what? We all make mistakes, but I am glad those women are using their voices.
So I'm gonna
Alyssa Farah Griffin is a self-interested career opportunist trying to fill the shoes of Meghan McCain to benefit herself and no one else. The Vanity Fair and other major publications are posting stories about her. Her face is everywhere as the mainstream media is claiming that she's trying to become the face of conservatism in the media. So supposedly, according to the media and according to The View, Alyssa Farah Griffin is your voice. I mean, what a joke. Once again, I mean, let's just take January 6th as the perfect example. Alyssa Farah Griffin on CNN promoting Cassidy Hutchinson as a brave warrior for democracy.
You and Cassidy Hutchinson are close, so you have actually spoken to her. I knew nothing about her. I'd never seen her speak other than in the deposition. She was remarkably composed and credible, and I think her testimony will be very impactful. How is she doing?
She's doing great. She's in good spirits. I think the magnitude of the moment has certainly begun to dawn on her and how significant of a role she's playing in American history. She's somebody who I would have trusted in any scenario to keep their word, to get a job done, but she's always been a behind-the-scenes player. So to see her front and center with millions and millions of people watching and to maintain such poise and confidence doing what dozens of people twice her age, 3 times her age are too terrified to do, refusing subpoenas, not showing up, was remarkable. It was inspiring, honestly, as a woman to watch.
And this is exactly what I mean by discrimination. There's no diversity. Real diversity is diversity of thought. But within the mainstream, the only people that are allowed at the table, the only people who get a voice, are people who promote certain narratives, condemn others, people who condemn Donald Trump, and frankly, people that hate you and want to destroy you and slowly filter you out of the cultural space. That to me seems like straight up discrimination, a lack of representation, and I continue to make the point that the most discriminated against individual in modern day America is the Trump supporter. The person who doesn't get a voice, the person who is persecuted to the full extent of the law for minor non-violent offenses by ideological courts and judges, the person who gets assaulted in the streets for wearing a red hat, and the mainstream media says, well, you deserve it, or just doesn't report on it at all. The people who get fired from their jobs if their political opinions or political stances and voting records are made public. But of course, none of it's surprising. It's been an uphill battle since the start. Now, of course, none of us ever expected the mainstream media to give you a fair chance, but it's just yet again another glimpse into the mainstream media racket, the way they control things, manipulate discussions, and influence people by omitting narratives, purposely not educating the public on particular stories that debunk their narratives, not giving a voice to the other side, just like we see with the January 6th sham hearing. Donald Trump doesn't get representation. Donald Trump doesn't get a defense. The entire panel is stacked against him. Mainstream media panels, the exact same thing, and they parade these anti-Trump conservative outliers like Meghan McCain and Ana Navarro and Alyssa Griffin as exactly that, conservative tokens, conservative puppets, in order to make it seem as if they're being fair. If The View is truly being fair and offering a voice to the other side, then someone like Candace Owens or Kayleigh McEnany would be brought on the show, not these know-nothing, absolutely irrelevant, paid opposition fake conservatives. But of course, the facts remain the same, folks. The mainstream media is straight up evil and manipulative. Not exactly breaking news, not exactly surprising. Yet despite it all, despite all their efforts, Donald Trump is still probably gonna win and come back and take them all to task. It's a real David versus Goliath story now, isn't it? But that's what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe if you feel like it. I'm gonna get back to work. I wanna thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.